Welcome back to I'm Not Gonna Lie. I'm your host, Ashley, and today's episode is titled Wellness Isn't Just Physical. Ta-da! No, this conversation I've been sitting with for a while because for a long time, I thought I was doing everything right. I was taking care of my body, trying to eat better, rest more, move more, and show up stronger. From the outside, it looked like I was prioritizing my health. Great, pat on the back. But on the inside, I was still feeling drained, overwhelmed, and still disconnected. So today, I just wanted to talk about what wellness really means to me now. For those who follow me on social media, I love sharing moments of wellness and spirituality and combining the two because physical health is also emotional, mental, and spiritual, and energetic health as well. True wellness to me isn't about looking good on paper, it's about feeling whole in real life. It's about peace, alignment, and learning how to take care of every part of yourself, not just the visible ones. So, whatever you're doing, if you're driving, listen along, drive safely. If you are cleaning up, doing laundry, or just listening while you're doing some work, thank you. I appreciate this time. I have me some tea because it is 9:21 a.m. So, I got me some tea and then I'm going to do coffee. But let's continue this conversation. Let's get into it. The first layer of wellness I had to pay attention to was my mental and emotional health. For a long time, I was strong on the outside and very overwhelmed on the inside. I carried stress quietly. I overthought everything. I replayed conversations. I worried about my future. I held into disappointments longer than I should have. You know, the whole Trinity thing. And I told myself it was normal, that everyone feels like this, that this is just part of being responsible and ambitious. But eventually, I realized something. My mind was tired, okay? My heart felt so heavy, and no amount of rest could fix that because I wasn't resting emotionally. I wasn't giving myself permission to feel or even to release or heal. I started asking myself, what am I holding that doesn't belong to me anymore? Is it old guilt, old fears, old expectations, old versions of myself? When I began letting those go, even slowly, I noticed my body starting to feel lighter too. Because emotional weight lives in the body. And healing starts when we acknowledge that. So, things to help, because you guys know I love to share, taking my daily morning walks, listening to frequency music, listening to self growth podcasts, other than my own, that was really connecting me, doing my cards, journaling, sitting in quiet, you guys, sitting in quiet. Sometimes it sounds so easy to do, but it is so hard just to sit in quiet. But all of those things help me acknowledge that this is where this type of healing needs to start. The second shift came when I began focus. The second shift came when I began focusing on my spiritual wellness. And when I say spiritual, I don't mean perfect because nobody's perfect. I mean, just being connected, connected to God, connected to source, connected to my intuition, connected to my inner voice, connected to my purpose and finding out what my purpose was and is. There was a time when I was so busy surviving and achieving that I stopped listening inward. I stopped praying intentionally. I stopped sitting in stillness. I stopped asking myself what my soul actually needed. I was moving, but I was not grounded. Producing, but I definitely was not present. Nowadays, I do try to create space for spiritual check ins. It's very daily. It's not that I try, I do create space for spiritual check ins. Even if it's just a few minutes of quiet, a moment of gratitude, a prayer, a deep breath, a reminder that I am supported by the universe, by my ancestors, that they are guiding me, and that I am not doing life alone. When your spirit is nourished, everything else falls differently. Your decisions change, your boundaries get stronger, your peace becomes non negotiable. All right. March is a month of transition, a new season, a shift in energy. It is the space between what was and what is becoming. And this month, I am offering a special March alignment tarot experience. This is not a surface level reading. This is an intentional 8 card spread focused on clarity, direction, and realignment. We will tap into what needs to be released, what is unfolding, what opportunities are approaching, and how to move with confidence into your next chapter. If you have been feeling uncertain or in between or just called towards something a little bigger, but unsure of the next step, this reading can be for you. All March, you can book the March Alignment Tarot experience at a special rate of $30. So head to the description below, click the email link, and request the March Tarot. Let's tap into your energy and create clarity together. Because duh, new seasons require aligned decisions. Now, I'm not going to lie. Let's get back into this conversation. Another part of wellness I had to rethink was my relationship with stress, money, and responsibility. Again, the three holy trinities that I think stress everybody the F out. Okay. Financial pressure, career expectations, and family obligations can silently wear you down. And we don't talk about how heavy it feels to be dependable, to be strong, to be the one who holds things together, to always just figure it out. That kind of pressure lives in your nervous system. It shows up as tension, as fatigue, as irritability, as burnout. And if we're not careful, we normalize it. I've learned that financial and life stability, yes, they are important, but not at the cost of my health. And learning to trust that things will work out is part of spiritual maturity. And I know that sounds like, oh my God, she's just not relatable, but I get it. Because if you're someone who, you're a type A person, you're all about being successful, you're about the coins, the money, knowing that in a real world, this is the things that you need. But I always make this comparison, or I always make this example. Sometimes the richest people in the world with money, material wealth, they're usually the saddest because they didn't learn how to prioritize their health. They didn't learn how to prioritize their peace and their rest and just trusting that, hey, all of my determination that I want for this life, whatever that life is going to look like, all of that is going to just work out for me. Finally, I want to talk about environment and energy. Where you live, who you're around, what you consume online. We just talked about that probably 2 episodes ago. What you listen to, what you tolerate, all of that affects your wellness. If your environment is chaotic, your mind will be too. If your relationships are draining, your body will feel it. If your digital life is nosy, your intuition gets quieter. That's a fact. I've started becoming more intentional about my space. I talk about it all the time. It's something I've been doing for like the last 2.5 years since I've been on this spiritual journey of alignment and clarity and just being a better me. It's all about my space, what is sacred, what's intentional. It's about my relationships. about my routines, about my boundaries, because peace doesn't happen by accident, it happens by design. So I had to really prioritize those things because that was what was so important to me. I had to prioritize how I showed up in my friendships or how I showed up in my marriage and what I also was going to accept from my friendships and from my marriage. I had to show up for my routines. I have to change routines. I can't just do the same routine every day. I had to prioritize my boundaries, which is so flippin' hard. I'm trying not to cuss. It's so flippin' hard to set boundaries, to stand by your boundaries. I was telling someone over the weekend, boundaries are really hard to start, and boundaries are really hard to set until they're not. Write that down. But again, none of those things happen by accident. It's day after day. It's the work that you put in to make those things a priority so it can reflect on your day to day. It can reflect on the inside and it will also reflect on the outside. Your aura change, how you talk change, how you think will change. It's all by design. When I look at all of this together, mental health, emotional healing, spiritual connection, financial peace, and energetic boundaries, I realize that wellness is really about alignment. And I swear, alignment is probably the word for the season. Alignment. It's about living in a way that honors your whole self. Not just your productivity, not just your appearance, not just your accomplishments, but your heart, your spirit, your nervous system, your inner child. And guess what? Your future self. So today, I invite you to reflect with me. Ask yourself, where am I only taking care of my body, but neglecting my soul? Where am I strong on the outside, but tired on the inside? What part of me is asking for more love, more rest, more intention, more grace? If you like, try this affirmation with me. I honor my whole self, my body, my mind, and my spirit. I release imbalance. I choose alignment. I choose peace. I choose wholeness. If you want, you can let that guide you when life feels overwhelming, when stress builds up, when you feel disconnected, when you need to come back to yourself. Remember, wellness is a journey, not a destination. Some days you'll feel centered, some days you'll feel scattered. Both are human. What matters is that you keep choosing yourself over and over again. This is spiritual wellness in action. This is self respect. This is healing. This is becoming. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And thank you guys so much for listening. And, I try to share the most authentic tips and basically my journal entries that I write and I share them publicly on the podcast to help inspire, help guide people along, especially in just today's world where there's so much stuff going on. It's so chaotic. Nothing's really looking and feeling like the best. But that doesn't mean that we can't feel that way on the inside and on the outside, no matter what's going on around us. So, if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs this reminder that they deserve more than just survival. They deserve peace, they deserve balance, they deserve wholeness. For more spiritual wellness focus and intentional lifestyle content, through the you can follow me through the link below and the description. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reflecting. Thank you for choosing to honor your spirit. And I will see you in the next episode.